At dawn, we watch the city slowly come to life. After all the build-up, Timbuktu is surprisingly small and desperately poor. Once a lush oasis, it's been slowly swallowed by the Sahara. But there's a real sense of delight at being free again. More people are moving back every day. There are signs everywhere of why they fled. Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour, ça va? Ça va. Où sont les messages?
Oh, les islamistes ont mis de la peinture ici.
Vraiment? Ouais. C'est fou.
Vraiment.
Même sur des bâtiments.
Ouais.
The Islamists not only banned entertainment like football, television and music, they erased every depiction of human faces, declaring portraits to be un-Islamic. For some reason, even this camel's face was deemed indecent. Far worse than vandalism was the terror they instilled in the community. Hamadou Maiga heads Timbuktu's crisis committee, trying to help people rebuild their lives after 10 months of occupation.
Au début de l'occupation des djihadistes, la ville est devenue une ville fantôme, une ville morte. Morte en ce sens que toutes les populations étaient terrées dans leurs maisons, de peur d'être réprimées, de peur d'être humiliées, de peur d'être brutalisées, de peur d'être violentées, en raison de l'attitude inhumaine de ceux-là qui ont prétendu être des musulmans, mais qui, dans la pratique, ont prouvé le contraire.
It's been the most traumatic time since Moroccans invaded in the 16th century. But the medieval Moors were men of culture compared to the 21st century Islamists. A fanatical collection of North Africans and Pakistanis, they had no respect for different traditions or beliefs. Their military commander, Omar Hamaha, made that clear in this interview in Timbuktu last year.
Voulez-vous appliquer la charia dans tout le Mali ou voulez-vous la création d'un État touareg dans le nord du Mali?
Notre but, c'est la pratique de la charia dans tout le Mali. On ne revendique pas un État, ni un État arabe, ni touareg, ni quoi que ce soit. Ce qu'on revendique, c'est un État musulman.
Azima takes me to meet some friends who suffered the rebels' version of Islamic law. At 18, Zainab fell in love with her neighbour Che and had a baby. 2 months after the birth, the Islamists discovered they weren't yet married.
Donc problème de kagana idiniyata. Jekeno da problem. Kai kata gara hindi donc kata gara waydi do ikai haya ay hadisa kai na wayna donc ya da hocere ikwende sadiki ikande cigi hinka subasidare ikwende justice do.
On the 20th of June, they were taken to the main square by the Sankore Mosque to be publicly flogged. Despite the prohibition on showing faces, the Islamists allowed the punishment to be filmed to spread the message of the new Sharia.
Abani jawyar mubulkuna ikwende doti sadiki ikwende doti bada fukul ikarga idama sa barjume jungu bada fukul dan waran kacin dugu bada tachi.
Zainab, still recovering from the birth, was punished just as harshly. As well as whipping people, the Islamists demolished some of the city's holiest shrines. This was one of several tombs of Muslim saints. There are said to be 333 saints buried in the town, but the militants denounced that as idol worship and got out their sledgehammers. Some of the destruction they wreaked can only be explained as spite. Earlier on our journey, we saw how Timbuktu's sister city, Jenne, was trying to preserve centuries of priceless manuscripts.
There are quite a lot of manuscripts that are damaged by various things. For instance,
Sophie Saran, the expatriate Swedish designer, is leading a project to digitise them.
I'm really privileged to be able to be part of that. It's an exciting thing because we never know what we're going to find. We think maybe we'll find something that is going to revolutionize the way we're thinking about West Africa. Who knows? There could be anything in these documents. C'est la même chose que la charia, c'est ça?
While she was trying to save them, the Islamists in Timbuktu decided to destroy them. So this is what they did when they left?
Yes, exactly. They store all these manuscripts, this big treasure from Timbuktu and from the world.
In their last act before they fled the city, the Islamists torched all the manuscripts they could find.
The borderman puts fire here, and you see, you can see how it's all manuscript for 15th century.
In the 15th century,
yes,
they just
11th
destroyed
century.
them.
Yeah.
It's dash.
You see dash.
This was a public library, purpose-built to protect the manuscripts from the ravages of time and weather. How do you feel about that as a Muslim and as someone who's grown up here?
I feel very bad because I think the Islam are never told to do something like this because this is not against Islam, so why they do it? So it's very bad. You see, it's empty, nothing inside. It's like, you cannot believe it.
Fortunately, most of Timbuktu's manuscripts were saved. They were hidden or smuggled out by families that have safeguarded private collections for generations.
Quel âge ont-ils?
Le manuscrit du 11e siècle.
11e siècle?
Oui.
1011.
Oui. C'est un Coran avec le commentaire.
Incroyable, c'est belle.
Abdul Qadir Haidara has one of Timbuktu's biggest collections.
Donc ça, c'est le Coran.
He organised a covert operation to spirit out the private libraries. The owners hid them in suitcases or crates and transported them south, sometimes bribing Islamists to look the other way.
Très très difficile, qui est très très risquant. Mais on a fait ça avec l'aide de communautés, certaines communautés de Tombouctou, avec les imams, avec les transporteurs et les commerçants. On a eu l'aide de tout le monde qui nous a aidés à faire ces travaux.
He's brought some of his favourite manuscripts out from hiding, but for now he's keeping the rest in a secret place.
L'importance de ces manuscrits, ça fait partie de notre patrimoine. Patrimoine familial, patrimoine local et patrimoine national. Et ça fait partie d'un patrimoine mondial, humanité.
At the main mosque, we find a memorial being held to the Malian soldier killed in the suicide bombing. The 10 Islamists who the French shot during the attack go unmourned. Ben Asayuti is the mosque's imam.
On est très consterné par cette attaque qui dénote un terrorisme. Tout le monde est consterné, tout le monde est paniqué par cette situation.
His family has been in charge of the mosque since it opened in 1327, when Timbuktu was one of the greatest centres of Islamic scholarship. But he had to play peacemaker, as gun-toting fanatics told them how to be Muslims.
Les populations se fâchent pour que les gens prennent des armes ou autre chose, et ça va être une guerre. Malheureusement, on n'a pas cédé à cette provocation. On a pu contenir les gens et la situation a été sous contrôle.
Not surprisingly, most people in Timbuktu see the French as liberators, but you rarely see them in the city. They're hunkered down in the old airport. The suicide bombing that took place just hours before we arrived showed the Islamists can still strike back. Further north, French troops are still trying to oust them from mountain bases near the Algerian border.
I don't think it's possible that they will take over the cities again like they did before, or the whole Northern Territory. But I think that we're in for probably a rough ride when it comes to suicide bombings and that sort of thing. I don't think that you can very easily just get rid of that. They are so entrenched into those mountains in the north. They have been there for years. They have tunnels, they have been able to stock food. They've been there for a long, long time, and that's probably where they're keeping their hostages and everything. So it's difficult to just get rid of these sort of people if they have those deep roots in a place.
The suicide bombing at Timbuktu airport was followed by a fierce gunfight. Inside the bullet-riddled terminal, I meet a young VIP who's appealing for the French to stay.
I doubt the French will invest as much as they have and leave before the assurance that peace will be able to be maintained.
Samake is a popular mayor who's running for president in the July 7 elections to restore civilian rule.
We hope they will stay longer. Some have given the impression that they will leave soon. I doubt they will do so because it won't be the best option.
But the French are already drawing down their forces. They have 4,000 soldiers in northern Mali, an area the size of France. Half of them are due to leave by July. All agree Mali's poorly paid, poorly equipped army is no match for the Islamists. In January, most of the army retreated as the rebels swept south. So France is relying on a UN peacekeeping force to take over when it leaves.
The great fear is that the Sahara will become like another Afghanistan, just a breeding ground for extremism and terrorism.
It can, but should we let it happen? We also have the power to stop that from happening. We have to work together. In the past, previous administrations, previous government of Mali have not given the sense of investment, the sense of involvement in eradicating extremism. It breeds because people have no other options. If we have option to attend schools in our villages, if we have the hope that after school we get a job, why would we strap an explosive to ourselves or let our children strap explosive to themselves? We all hope for a better tomorrow. The reason why people do this is lack of hope. We cannot afford a country owned by terrorists. We can't. The world cannot. Australia cannot do that. Because then they will prepare themselves and threaten Western interests.
Che, who married Zainar immediately after they were flogged, has just enjoyed some small revenge. After the attack on the French base, he took cell phone pictures of the dead Islamists and circulated them around Timbuktu.
C'est justice, peut-être.
After 3 days here, with the constant sound of warplanes overhead, Azima's optimism is being tested.
Do you think you'll bring your family back straight away?
Not now. Maybe I need to wait maybe 1 month or 2 months to wait to be sure if everything is quiet.
This is your town?
It's my town.
His caution is soon justified. We check out of Timbuktu's only working hotel, the Colombe, to begin the long journey back to Bamako. A few days later, Islamists attacked the hotel. 7 people were killed. Back in Bamako, 1,000 kilometres to the south, people are making a determined effort to return to normal. Sophie Sarin, the Swedish designer we met in Jenne, has brought down her new clothing collection for a fashion parade. It's a slightly surreal sight in a country still at war. But to Sophie, it's just one more way to fight the Islamists.
These cities in the north will have to start working as normally, even if there are these unfortunate events with suicide bombings. It has to be like that. You know, otherwise there's no future for Mali. You have to be defiant. The Malians have to be defiant about this. And I think they will be.
And she wants the French to stay.
You know, it was an absolutely euphoric moment when they came in. And they came in just at the right time. I mean, we acclaimed them as heroes that when they arrived. That was fantastic.
You're not in a hurry for them to go?
No, I want them to stay because obviously I've got the hotel. I wanted to start running again like a normal, normal hotel. And we need some military presence here. We need some strong military presence in the north.
Dengue, c'est pour dire non, c'est pour dire que le Mali est un et indivisible.
Elsewhere in Bamako, the music plays on. Baba Saleh has helped bring West Africa's vibrant melodies to the world. But when the Islamists threatened the capital, they threatened his freedom to play here and to write songs like Dangue, an ode to all who've suffered in the north.
Dengue, ça veut dire également essuie tes larmes. J'ai choisi ce mot. Pour dire aux populations, ne pleurez plus. Bientôt, il y aura une solution aux problèmes qu'ils sont en train de vivre. Le problème d'exaction, le problème de terrorisme, tout ça là, ça va finir. Le monde ne doit pas fermer les yeux, boucher les oreilles pendant que des gens sont en train d'être violentés, des gens sont en train de mourir pour n'avoir rien fait.